Morning, guys. So we're right here, the trailhead we came out of yesterday, Trent's Grocery. Last night we stayed over at a Quality Inn in Whiteville. Temperature was down in the 20s, so we were good with that. And now we will kick it out this morning, a little later than expected, but still like before 9:30. We're good. We're only going 15 to Woodhold Shelter, so we'll do Woods Hole tonight, then into Perisburg tomorrow. We're gonna have to have an early day tomorrow because of the post office closing. So I bumped the boxes from Bland to Perisburg, and Crockett also purchased something. So no big deal. We'll just punch out early and knock that 10 out and get to Perisburg. Then we're looking to Nero, not stay in Perisburg, looking to Nero, get a few more miles in that day. So maybe another 15 total. And keep moving north. The one issue coming out of Perisburg is, I believe it's 70 something miles to the next real resupply spot. Something tells me I want to that I read one time that it was the second longest stretch without services to the 100-mile wilderness. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but for some reason that's stuck in my head. So it's just a heavy resupply. My boxes will take care of that, or should. So anyway, quite brisk this morning. Definitely in the 30s, but sunny and clear, so nothing but good news. Okay, so gonna start heading up. Today we have one big climb, but it's later in the day, but it's like 2,500 feet, I think. So for this, we're just gonna have a little bit of a climb up out of here, run the ridges for a bit, and then we do a big loop, eastbound loop. I'm sure a lot of people will be blue blazing this off because there's a shortcut, but can't do it, so we've got a 15-mile day ahead of us. All right, guys, catch you later. I wish I was hunting rather than hiking, where I could sit and enjoy this beautiful piece of forest right here. Just had a bad stumble back at one of the water crossings back there. Was a root I was going to step on. It was slippery, and I just slipped off of it with my right leg to the left side of the root. I think it'll be okay. Wapiti, meaning elk shelter in the Appalachian Trail. Here's the Wapiti shelter. Obviously a pretty small shelter. It's got a privy out there in the background. You can probably see quite a number of campsites. Yeah, this is a good spot because you can kind of look around you and you can see the higher elevation. We go from 2,900 feet to over 4,000 feet in the next several miles. So this is a good spot to stop, load up on some food, hydrate, because you're about to climb those elevations. Ooh. So you'll have to include this into one of the top 5, probably top 5, certainly top 10 hardest climbs. Up to Sugar Run Mountain here in Virginia. It's 1,000 feet of never-ending ascent, but you can see that it's a water course that has picked up all of these rocks. I don't know if they put down rocks to stop it from eroding or whether it's just through the erosion picked up the rocks, but it is straight up, see? And this, see it? Straight up and rocks. The only thing that would make it tougher, I think, would be if this were raining and this actually were a water course. So for those of you who have done that, my hat's off to you. Okay, so this is, I believe, Big Horse Gap. Why it's Big Horse Gap? I don't know. Maybe there was a big horse that used to live here. Maybe from the air it's shaped like a big horse. But at the end of the day that's what it's called. And we're just going to continue through Big Horse Gap, I believe, to the next gap. And the next gap is where Woods Hole shelter is. Not shelter, hostel. And it's definitely one of the most famous and iconic of the hostels on the AT. Otherwise, it's only 15 miles. And the ATC, apparently today, maybe for 420 Day, I don't know what for, is having a hiker feast at the Narrows. Now, I don't know what the heck the Narrows are, but apparently the Narrows is a section or area that is down near Perisburg. That's as it was described to me by calves. I saw calves and some other cat, and they told me about the ATC hiker feast. So that'd be kind of cool to go to, since being, I guess, an early starter, we didn't have trail magic like that, and there hasn't been any trail magic like that since I started. When I asked the other folks, they hadn't had it either. I don't know why this trail leading down from Sugar Run Mountain down towards the hostel has to ruin a perfectly good day with just a most god-awful rock shuffle. It is, look at this thing. It's such a nice day. Making good time. Not that it was easy. Going up the mountain was miserable. Not because of I guess it's a rock scramble, but those were small rocks that just kept rolling with you. This coming down here is the careful placement of each foot. So at Sugar Run Gap, Woods Hole Hostel, half a mile, looks like eastbound. So we go up here and we take a right and we travel half a mile to Woods Hole. Half a mile is a long way to go off the trail for anything, because that means it's a mile, because then we got to kayak back to it. So I'll look for trail magic in the form of an angel. Apparently that's not it, because ain't nobody in that car. So this is Woods Hole. You can see it's a pretty fancy spot here. That's a smoker right there. That looks like a restaurant of some sort. That may be the main house there. So what happened at Woods Hole? Well, so Crockett and Footloose and I got there first, checked in. The folks were, you know, real nice. The guy who's doing sort of the customer relations, I think, is like a temporary guy, and he's a little odd. And I think that manifested itself into a problem. You know, Woods Hole, like a lot of these other places, are legitimately trying to herd cats. And, you know, I didn't serve in the military, but I served in capacities in direct support to the military. And I saw, you know, some of the things that needed to be done, because not just in any community, but in certain communities, you can get people who literally were raised in a barn. People who literally have no social skills, have no hygiene skills, sanitary skills. And so, as a consequence, Woods Hole and some of the other places have some pretty strict rules. You know, they really make severe restrictions on smoking. You have to be basically way off, you know, 100 yards essentially away from the main house there, to smoke by yourself. And when Crockett came in, he immediately started smoking up by the main house. And when she saw him, she said, "Listen, you need to go, you know, not just out here in the yard, but way over. There's a designated area. You'll see it. And the reason we do that is to try to encourage you to quit smoking." So that wasn't necessarily the little authoritarian, little condescending. Well, then they took the two guys and went around to show them, you know, the bunkhouse and also the place that I had selected. And when they did that, the guys left their packs and poles up near the main house. From the Woods Hole perspective, I get it. They can't have a bunch of clutter. It's a small area, you know, that sort of thing. But unfortunately, they just chose to move their stuff instead of have the customer relations guy come down and say, "Hey guys, because of the clutter, can you move your bags up to the tent that we'd all agreed to stay in, the glam tent?" Well, with the smoking and the other restrictions and then them moving their stuff, they got sort of torqued off. The guys did. Anyway, so what happened was is the guys got torqued and said they wanted to move on. So that left me in the situation of I stay there or move on. Well, so here's the issue. Footloose left his girlfriend a day early. She came all the way down from Vermont to see him, and he left his girlfriend a day early just to sort of stay with us as a group. That's loyalty. Then, Crockett's been really good to me, and so I felt like, I should be loyal to them, but also, frankly, it also was for practical reasons, because what happened was that the post office tomorrow that I have to pick up the package at is they close at 12, and we were 10 miles, actually 10 and a half miles from Woods Hole to there, and so that was sort of a long haul to get there by noon. So this cut off 2 miles. Anyway, make a long story short, we're now at the shelter, and we're gonna stay here for tonight. Okay, guys. So I feel like we're going back in time. I used to do this stuff to you all the time, where I'd have a plan, lay it out for you. Next thing I knew, we were adding something to it, and we were going somewhere here, somewhere there. So to finish up the story about the hostel, at the end of the day is they got their rules in order to herd the cats, but there's going to be some percentage of the population who's like, anti-authoritarian and non-conformist, and is like, we're not doing that. So I wanted to, be loyal to the guys that I'm with, and by leaving there, we were narrowing the distance to Perisburg. So we got to the shelter, and the shelter was packed. Needless to say, it's the one right off of a road. We had southbounders, northbounders. We had it all going on. So none of us were really feeling it. We looked for campsites. One campsite was 0.6 down the road, down the trail. So we said, okay, we'll hit that and see what it's got going on. It didn't have water, so we got some water where we were at the shelter. Went down there, didn't have enough space for the 3 of us. So we said, okay, there's another one 2 miles further down, and there's a stream there. The stream was, weak, and the campsite maybe we even had somebody in it, we're not sure. But I think we were already moving mentally into the next step. The next step was to hike into Perisburg. So, according to our calculation, that'll be a 25-mile day. All of us are feeling good. The trail's behaving. We've had issues with rocks. We went over a pretty good mountain with Sugar Run. So it's not the easiest day to do your first 25, but together we seem to be working pretty good. Look at that view. This is when Virginia's beautiful. So we're night hiking down into Perisburg. I think I had mentioned today going up Sugar Run Mountain that had to be included as one of the hardest uphills that I had done because of the poor trail condition and the roots and rocks. Well, I can honestly tell you, coming down out of the hills into Perisburg is not when you want to be doing night hiking. It is wickedly steep. The terrain is really challenging. Of course, we're at the end of 25 miles and that adds a degree of challenge to it. But I just wanted to show you what the trail looked like when you're seeing nothing more than a spot of light in front of you.